What's up guys, Rich here with the Roebuck Diviso Tread. And it's in 42 millimeters, 49.7 lug to lug. It's 11.9 millimeters tall, and it uses a 22 millimeter strap width. And Roebuck is named after its founder and owner, Guy Roebuck, who makes these watches out of Round Rock, Texas, and he's been making them since 2015. And there's quite a lot of subtle Texas pride. Those that have a Texas theme, as well as the race car and an interesting theme keeping along with Texas that I just mentioned. So, you know, there's a lot of subtleties to this watch. I think there's a lot. I'm going to say it off the bat. A lot of nice things to like about the watch. So I just talked about the details, and we can start with the carbon fiber design in the bezel inlay. Now it's not actual carbon fiber, but it does have that pattern that is consistent with the racing themed going on throughout the watch, and most notably that orange stripe that is in the middle of the dial, but also around it. See the blue ribbed parts on the dial? That's designed after the corrugated metal roofs that are apparently pretty common in Texas. I'm in LA, so I wouldn't know that for sure, but I have seen those metal corrugated roofs in the industrial parts of town everywhere I've gone, and that's the look that it gives you. So you get that two look. You get the Texas theme and that race car theme. Now, obviously, the race car theme is going to be the most apparent or most obvious, but if you're from Texas, I think you can appreciate the corrugated metal roofs. Another nice detail, very subtle detail, is that the triangle right above 12 o'clock, it has a sheen to it, a metallic sheen, more like aluminum. But that was actually, ironically, a factory oops. But it turned out really nicely because that sheen, that metallic sheen, is really in line with the corrugated metal roof theme as well. So that ironic factory oops turned out perfectly in this case, and Guy liked it so much that he actually kept it. So I thought that's interesting. It has nice applied markers. It is loomed with the BGW9, and Roebuck did a nice job with the loom. You can see these from here. You can see these really nice subtle details. On the case, the side profile is recessed and is polished around it, and inside it's filled with a brushed finishing on either side of the case. Rather unique, rather nice. I like it a lot. Now, if we showed the top of the case, it's not your typical case where it immediately curves downwards. It's somewhat straighter, but because of its shorter, relatively shorter 49.7 lug to lug, it will accommodate just about any wrist, including my 6.5-inch wrist, without being overbearing. But I like the look of the case. I think it's much more unique than a lot of the cases that just curve down immediately. So some really, really nice details here. Now, of course, we see the two crowns. The top crown will control the bi-directional inner rotating bezel. So we can go clockwise, we can turn it counterclockwise, and the purpose is to time our thing. For me, I find it actually very purposeful because I'll time my eggs, or when I go on my runs, I like to time my runs. So I actually use the bezel on my diver's watch. This is not a diver's watch, but it has that purpose in there, and I actually find that really useful to me. The bottom crown will adjust the time, but if there's one curious decision on the crown, and both crowns are signed, is that it is not a screw down crown, even though Roebuck claims that it is water resistant to 100 meters. And because I was curious, I had a conversation with Guy about this, and he explained that the screw down crowns can be inadvertently cross threaded, destroying the case, because the Diviso wasn't conceived as a dive watch, but it can have water resistance. I haven't tested this in any serious depths of water. There's been no submersion on this, but for me, it's not a big deal because none of my watches actually see any serious depth. The most my watches will see is water coming out of the sink if I'm washing my hands or doing the dishes. So for me, it's not a serious issue. If, however, you want to take your watch swimming, I wouldn't recommend this without a screw down crown. But for everyday purposes, where the most we'll see is water coming from a sink or a light rain, from the car to the office or to the home or to a store, this should be fine. So otherwise, it just has a really nice profile, a nice two crown look without it being a diver's watch. So if we turn our attention to the strap, it is a nice leather strap. You can see the pattern on here, which is consistent with the race car theme. It has the tread marks on here, but this is also limited edition. It's a handmade custom leather strap with a tread. There are only 20 of these available, and because of the different colorways, this is obviously in the orange blue, but it's also available in white, black, black silver, and green gray combinations. I would imagine that there are only 5 of these straps available for each of the colorways, if there are only 20 available. If we turn the strap around, I like the inscription here where it says handmade for Roebuck Watch Company. A really cool inscription. It is a nice quality strap. It is very comfortable and didn't need any breaking in period. It also uses the quick release spring bar, so no tools are required to change out the straps. It's a really sharp looking with the tread. But if you don't quite like the tread look, you can use their more traditional simple leather straps like this, also with the quick release straps. Let's see. This is in the brown, black. So we have those different options with the strap. Now, also consistent with the keeping with the Texas theme on the case back, and it is a solid case back, and I actually agree with the solid case back on this movement. We can see the round rock water well on the case back there. So that's I quite like that. And so what's the movement that is powering the Diviso Tread? Well, it's powered by the Miyota 9039 automatic movement with 42 hours of power reserve. So overall, just a really sharp looking package here. It's a very striking dial with that carbon fiber pattern. There's a pretty close good look of the bezel inlay. We can see the ribbed light blue there for the more of the corrugated metal roofs. Just a really sharp job. It has a nice feel in the hand, and I can tell you that I appreciate this watch a lot more in the hand than I did in any of the pictures. It just has a nice premium feel to it. I want to show you real quickly the presentation it comes in, which is this leather, kind of like a canteen presentation. That's where the watch goes in, and it has a magnetic secure measure there. So overall, a very nice presentation here. The retail price on the Diviso Tread is $549 with the limited edition custom tread straps, or $499 with the more traditional strap. So if we're looking for that nice everyday watch that has a purposeful second crown with the so we can do our timings, and we like the sporty look of this watch, then I think the Diviso Tread is definitely worth our attention. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you the next time.